It has been 94 years since women earned the right to vote. Before then, women wrestled with the prejudices of everyday life. But since earning suffrage, women have faced a new level of discrimination in the world of politics.
Our main theme tonight is sexism. What does it look like here, and what does it look like across the globe? I'm Chris Ryder.
And I'm Rachel Wood. Thank you for watching The World Tonight. Currently in the news, President Obama announced a plan to allow 110,000 refugees into the U.S. over the next year beginning this October. This announcement comes at about the same time as the U.S. Central Command admitting to have possibly broken the Syrian ceasefire. The strike was intended to target the Islamic State but bombed a base surrounded by IS instead, allowing extremists to advance their position against Syrian forces, according to the Associated Press. Russia's military also said Syrian rebels broke the ceasefire dozens of times over one day, so we can say the ceasefire is working a little bit better than a game of elementary school freeze tag.
Gas prices crept up across stations in the South after a segment of pipeline failed near Helena, Alabama. The Colonial Pipeline Company says it has spilled about 300,000 gallons of gasoline, with some stations even reported running out. This may seem like a big problem, but it's totally going to work out for those Native Americans up in North Dakota. I mean, what could go wrong? When's the last time giant masses of chemicals have threatened the environment? I can't even think of one time. So it's important that the Standing Rock Sioux tribe understands that even though they're being attacked by dogs and people with weapons, the government is totally going to look out for them. No one treats Native Americans better than the U.S. government.
Cannabis growers across Washington have been locked in a competition to create the best diet pot after researchers found an element of cannabis that makes the body burn more energy. Skinny weed is expected to become the next big thing. Legal weed wasn't enough for the people of Washington. They want weed to diet and exercise for them. Next thing we know, weed is going to be taking all our jobs. We need to be careful. The word marijuana sounds Mexican enough to make Donald Trump want to deport it.
Administrators outlined a plan for reducing WSU's athletics department's $13 million deficit. The plan includes a $100 per year fee for all undergraduates. The plan sparked outrage among many undergraduate students. Now, it's important to keep in mind for all undergraduate students that they will have the opportunity to vote on this upcoming spring. This isn't a sad attempt at a joke on this one. Please make sure you vote.
Shifting to our main topic tonight, sexism.
It's something that affects all of us, men and women.
Well, mostly women.
Right. It's something that's plagued mankind for hundreds of years.
While feminist movements over the past few hundred years have placed women on the road to equality, sexism still exists in every corner of this globe.
The world doesn't have corners, it's a sphere.
Women have advanced in society and made great strides in all aspects of life. But tonight, we're looking at a few of many examples of sexism in modern culture. Correspondent Eli Clayton has the story of the toll of sexism on WSU's campus.
On September 2nd, an 18-year-old female WSU student was allegedly sexually assaulted at the Delta Upsilon fraternity. The next morning, police went to the Pullman Regional Hospital, where a 17-year-old female WSU student told officers she was given alcohol at the same fraternity, according to Pullman police. While this has been the most publicized assault on campus this year, it is just one in a multitude of assaults reported in the last several years. In a 3-year span, 22 sexual assaults have been reported on campus.
But how exactly does this fit into the conversation about sexism?
When most people talk about sexism, they don't mention sexual assault, but it is a form of sexual discrimination. It's explicitly defined that way in Title IX.
But how does sexual assault deny someone the benefits of education or subject them to discrimination?
Discrimination can mean a lot of things. Under Title IX, discrimination on the basis of sex includes sexual harassment, rape, and sexual assault.
So federal law states that sexual harassment or assault is discriminatory because it deprives people of their full education?
Exactly. And when an institution knows about and ignores harassment or assault in its programs or activities, it is legally responsible regardless of who commits the harassment, whether it be faculty, staff, or students. As of June, 195 higher education institutions have opened Title IX investigations, and of those 195 institutions, 9 of them have 3 or more open investigations. Those schools are Stanford, Knox College, University of Chicago, Indiana Bloomington, Kansas State University, St. Mary's College of Maryland, Temple, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
You only listed 8 schools. You said that there were 9 that had 3 or more open investigations, but you only listed 8 of them.
Oh, that's right. The 9th school is Washington State University. Go Cougs.
Thanks, Eli. In addition to the 3 open Title IX investigations, WSU was found to have violated the Clery Act in 2011 for not properly reporting 2 sexual assaults back in 2007. WSU was fined $82,500 for these violations, but then appealed the fine and got it reduced to $15,000.
$15,000! That means it costs more to buy a used 2010 Toyota Sienna than it does to get caught not reporting sexual assaults. It costs more for you to go to college and get sexually assaulted than it does for that same college not to report your sexual assault.
Now, it's important to note that sexual assault and sexism isn't limited to college campuses, but is highly concentrated in these environments. It impacts this very university.
Now let's go over to our national correspondents, Jacob Greneman and Majestic Storm.
Tonight we're going to be taking a look at sexism on a national scope. Let's focus first on a popular topic of the election season, the gender wage gap. The median annual earning ratio for full-time working women 16 and older varies by each state. According to the American Community Survey in 2014, Washington, D.C. had the smallest gap, with women making 90% of what men make, and Louisiana having the largest gap, with women making 65% of what men make.
Louisiana, a place where you can marry your cousin, but only make about 2/3 of what a man makes if you're a woman. There are so many female judges that have had couples come into their courthouse asking to get married. And then she sees that their last names are already the same on the paper, and she says, "I do not get paid enough for this."
According to the National Women's Law Center, women are the main provider for 40% of families. In 2014, over half of all poor children lived in families headed by women. Some say women simply shouldn't have children if they can't afford them. If only there was a way to access something that prevents pregnancy. If only there was some sort of way to plan your parenthood.
Research also shows that women with more education face greater pay gaps and are more likely to have issues paying their student loans. While the wage gap has decreased over the last 50 years, at the rate that it is changing, it would take until 2059 for pay to be equal between men and women, according to the Institute for Women's Policy Research. Going to college is going to be so worth it in 43 years.
No woman is safe from prejudice, especially if she's a political leader. The woman who has spent the most time in the limelight this year is the Cedar Rapids chiller herself, Hillary Clinton. One topic that often comes to the forefront of Facebook arguments you have with that weird kid from school you're pretty sure still runs around like an anime character, or your staunchly conservative aunt who always smells like cat litter. Clinton is continuously slammed for things her male counterparts aren't judged for. Words such as Monica and bitch are common words associated with Clinton on Twitter, according to the Washington Post. If she raises her voice in a debate, then people automatically find her to be overbearing and shrill. Bernie Sanders wailed like an antelope with emphysema and nobody judged him.
Some like to say that Clinton is unfit for office because she will be too emotional to make major decisions.
Also, more commonly, people will discredit Clinton's arguments because of the way she dresses.
Let's not even start on Trump's tumbleweave or Cheeto dust skin. Presidents and candidates alike try to put some personality into their professional looks. And if Bill Clinton gets to expose his pasty thighs in his running shorts, or James K. Polk can brandish his mullet, then let Hillary have her grandma couch pattern pants suits.
Now we shift our focus to this man, and a matter close to our hearts. No, that's not Jabba the Hutt without makeup, or Newt Gingrich with makeup. That's founder and former chairman of Fox News, Roger Ailes. In early July, allegations of sexual harassment surfaced in the news. While he did not comment on the allegations publicly, Ailes instead resigned his post as chairman. Good riddance. The LA Times reported in late July that Ailes' departure was the result of an investigation by Fox News' parent company, 21st Century Fox.
Gretchen Carlson was the first woman to sue Ailes in court. Carlson alleged in a signed affidavit that Ailes denied her career-advancing positions after she turned down his sexual advances. Her complaint was not the only one. Ailes developed a culture of fear at Fox, with victims believing that reporting their boss would equate to a bad career move. Ailes still made no public comment to his accuser and victims, as money was going to do the talking for him. Following a relatively short court process, Fox's parent company agreed to a settlement of $20 million in Carlson's favor. A condition to the settlement requires that the company issues a highly unusual apology. It must be highly unusual for a corporation to admit its executive acted like he was on Mad Men.
Now let's take a look at Olympic announcing. The Olympics, Earth's greatest sporting event where athletes from countries all across the world come together to compete in a variety of sports we don't normally care about at all. Billions of people tune in to watch the Olympic Games every 2 years. However, this year, the people who watched the Olympics weren't just talking about the games themselves. They were also talking about how the media covered the games and the athletes. As it turns out, the media's coverage of the Olympics was a huge problem, like half of the world's population huge. I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afiq bin Hisham.
Media coverage of the Rio Olympic Games has faced mass scrutiny for its coverage of female athletes. However, the problem does not lie on the amount of coverage as one might think. In fact, during the first half of the Games, female athletes actually received 58.5% of primetime media coverage. So if the problem does not lie on the amount of coverage, then what could it possibly be? Well, it has more to do with how the media covers these women. Let's take Olympic medalist Cory Cogdell, for example. After winning the bronze medal for women's trap shooting, the Chicago Tribune tweeted about Cogdell, but they missed one teeny tiny insignificant detail: her name. The tweet said, "Wife of a Bears lineman wins a bronze medal in today's Rio Olympics." Now bear in mind, this isn't just some small town newspaper or an online blog, this is the Chicago Tribune. Furthermore, an Associated Press article, swimmer Katie Ledecky's world record in a women's 800-meter freestyle only got the sub-headline, when Michael Phelps' silver medal tie in the 100-meter fly got the main headline. Now, how does that even make any lick of sense? It's like saying, oh, the dog jumped through the hoop, but oh, you know what? Woman also cured cancer, but that's insignificant. And even live TV commentary on the games from NBC proved to be problematic, especially when it came to coverage of female athletes. For instance, NBC sportscaster Dan Hicks said in a broadcast that swimmer Katinka Hotsu's husband was the man responsible for her winning a gold medal. And he had the nerve to say this after she had just finished her race. Sure, her husband is her coach, and sure, he contributed to training her and helping her win the gold medal, but ultimately it was not him who won the gold medal. It was his wife, Katinka Hotsu, who won that gold medal. If commentators and reporters don't address this, then we will have a very, very serious issue on our hands.
There was once a time where women couldn't compete in the Olympics and they couldn't play professional sports, but they persevered and became athletes, and they became pilots, doctors, lawyers, Supreme Court justices, and heads of state. Yet even in 2016, they still are not often shown the same amount of respect as men or paid equally for the same amount of work. This is the world we live in. This is the world tonight.